Oklahoma has become the 30th state to approve medical marijuana, overcoming a well-financed opposition campaign with a homegrown grassroots effort. Now the state has to decide what kind of regulatory scheme needs to be put in place. That's something the health department has been working on for the last 3 months.
From the first day Tom Bates took over the embattled state health department, he made it clear to staff there would be full compliance if State Question 788 passed.
It was my charge to our staff that we would be ready as an agency to implement the requirements of State Question 788.
And even before the vote, the health agency released 63 pages of draft regulations, emergency rules that will go before the department's board in 2 weeks.
Application information and requirements will be available by July 26th for all of the defined categories of license, and the agency will begin accepting those applications no later than August 25th.
Information about the state's budding medical marijuana industry is on the web at omma.ok.gov. They also set up a pre-recorded phone line, 405-271-2266. Bates says he knows there are some issues that will take more time to work out.
There is a link on the website that allows for public comment, for us to get that feedback from the public, to hear what they think about our draft, as well as an ongoing conversation with our agency partners.
So far, advocates of medical cannabis agree the health department's proposals are a good start.
They seem very reasonable. There's a few details that we'll want to discuss with them probably.
The Department of Health getting ahead of this and demonstrating that A, they're very capable of administering a program like this and adopting and implementing regulations that will be necessary under State Question 788. I think this is a very positive sign.
Chip Paul is chairman of Oklahomans for Health, the group that wrote and circulated the 788 petitions.
We have a working group right now that's actually working on our regulations that we'll propose. And again, we think that's appropriate. It's our law. We wrote the law.
And Paul says there is already a tremendous amount of information and knowledge about medical cannabis.
Now it's very important how we regulate that law, because again, the regulations could completely, mess up the intention of the law. And that's why we think it's so important that we have input, we have a seat at the table.
Governor Mary Fallin says she respects the will of the people, but state leaders have to look out for the health and safety of its citizens. So she still wants a list of conditions added for which cannabis can be approved a treat.
We're having open discussions with legislators, with state agencies to make sure that it truly is medical marijuana. The definition of who can give a permit, give a license to someone who wants something for a medical condition, what that medical condition is.
Before the vote on 788, the governor indicated that a special session was likely to create the rules and regulations. Now she isn't so sure.
We are in the middle of an election year. You got runoffs, you have a general election, so there's a lot going on in trying to get people back for a third special session. But that's some of the things that we're discussing right now.
Meanwhile, the state health department is even looking at what doctors who aren't familiar with the medical benefits of cannabis will need to know when patients ask for their signature on an application.
We are engaged in conversations about what type of training and so forth should doctors be required to go through before making these decisions and signing off on these licenses.
Interim Health Commissioner Bates also expects to have to hire up to 100 more people to get the job done. And to pay for it all, Bates says they still have that $30 million the legislature sent the agency when everyone thought it was unable to pay its bills.
If the legislature does not come back and extend timelines or take action, then I take that as that they intend for us to use funds that we have available to us to implement this program.
So, how long will it be until the state has all of its processes complete?
I think that we could have all the rules, regulations in place, and our agencies ready to go, hopefully, within 150 days.
Oklahomans were hit with a barrage of television ads against State Question 788. Nearly $500,000 was spent just on the television campaign. For supporters, this campaign was truly low budget.
It pretty much was each individual person sharing on Facebook, telling their neighbors, talking to their parents, all those things. Each person out of their own pocket and their own time went out and lobbied for this. So it really truly is a We the People petition.
Norma Sapp is the state director of NORML. She believes the people of Oklahoma expect something different now from their elected leaders.
Well, the people want change. They want to stop doing what we've been doing and try something different.
Chip Paul agrees the campaign for medical marijuana was a people movement.
We're not beholden to anybody. Nobody. There's no big business interest that, drove this. No special interest at all. It's a we the people thing.
And even though CBD products are already legal in Oklahoma, they are still medical refugees from the Sooner State in Colorado because they need something more.
There's 26 families in Colorado right now that need a little bit of THC with their formula. In order for them to come back home, we have to pass this.
State Question 788 is the fourth medical cannabis initiative in a row to win approval in a state that voted for President Trump, a number that could grow to 6 by year's end. In Colorado, Medicine Man Consulting, that helps people set up cannabis growing operations, the phone has been ringing off the hook from people in Oklahoma and elsewhere looking for help to get involved in an already billion-dollar industry that is now spreading across the Sooner State.
Facing resistance from members of the legislature, Governor Mary Fallin says now there will be no special session to approve regulations for the medical marijuana industry. Instead, the governor says the health department has already shown that they can develop good rules, and if any changes are needed, that can be done in the next year's regular legislative session.